Took a while for stuff to charge back up. Windy City Thetan Watch here. If you're on the replay crew, please leave comments, ask questions. By the way, I respond to everything. I think I've still got 100% on all comments. Let me know if there's things that I can be doing better. Give me ideas of what we can do to help stop this cult. Like, share, subscribe. We are, by the way, there's some huge, looks like it's kind of an interfaith, Christian workshop going on, or conference going on here in Chicago. Mercy Worldwide. Just everybody in this area has a green T-shirt on with their logo on it right now. We're heading back over to Printers Row. Chicago's ideal org is 650 South Clark Street here in Chicago. There is an art festival that's going on. I do want to kind of go through there again. I've been away from the org for an hour and a half. Let's see if they put the if they got the confidence to put the shades up, or if they had the confidence to bring people out to do body routing. Did not see a lot of people in the org. I was there about a half hour before they opened today, and we saw less than 10 people walk in. Hey Scooter, hey Fuzzy. Welcome back, Lady E. Beautiful day here in Chicago. It's warming up quite a bit. It's a great day for the Air and Water Show. You can see the green across the street. That's the Mercy Worldwide that I saw. Don't know if they're here kind of proselytizing for, whatever. I don't know if they're just one church or if it's just a conference for all kinds of people from that church, from any kind of Christian-based church. But there are a heck of a lot of them out here. The entire hotel was full of them. We've got a couple of big events going on here in Chicago. We've got the Air and Water Show, and we've got the art festival here. Plus we had the farmers market. Hey, how you doing, Aaron? Thanks for coming in. We are heading over to the org. My guess is I've been away from the org for about an hour and a half. Oh, I do see a Scientologist right now, and she looked like she did have something in her hands. There's a big festival going on 1 block away from the org today. Now, yeah, so they live in this building. So she just walked in the door right there. So this is one of the places that they live. I'm gonna come up to the festival real quick. We're gonna run down the festival, see if there's anybody in here. They don't have a table here. When I came here earlier, they didn't have any presents here, but I'm sure that they'll try to get throughout the crowd walking around handing off their flyers. We'll kind of run through here real quick and then head over to the org. They never open up the shades today because I was here before they got here. There's some really cool, I mean, if you ever get a chance to come down here, the artistic work here, oh, I love that L shop. This is the pig shark. This is interesting, the three-dimensional sculpture. I do have my head on a swivel. I did see Nino Aquino. He is a staff here. He had his Dianetics t-shirt on this morning. So my expectation is that it would be Dianetics. I am looking at the tables for these vendors as well, just to make sure there's no flyers sitting there on the tables. That is a tactic that they've tried here in this farmers market. So this art market is for this weekend. The farmers market is, I'm going to go through the farmers market real quick. We've been in the farmers market before. We've caught them in here. We've caught them handing off flyers in here. Folks, I'm not really looking at the chat right now, just because I've got to keep my eyes scanning. Well, A, it's crowded, but also I'm keeping my eyes scanning for uniforms in the area. And then I'm looking at all of the tables to make sure that there's no, Way to Happiness is the one that they're most frequently doing here.
You guys want to sample some chili oil?
Just scanning the tables. This is the table before that I caught them. They had several flyers that Scientology had given to them. They didn't know what it was. And when I said, hey, can I have those? The daughter reached below the table and got 3 more pamphlets. So it doesn't look like they've been out here yet. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on any tables. I'm not seeing any uniforms. Yeah, I don't know if they've kind of given up on recruiting, if they don't have the manpower to recruit anymore, or if they're just really trying to get way out of the blast radius. So, I think they've gotten the understanding that I can walk as far as any of their people can. And they might say, well, cool, we'll have to drive to get out of his zone. Again, Chicago is what, 14 miles north to south, anywhere from 3 to 8 miles east to west. So there's an awful lot of places they can get to that I just can't see. I do have my flyers with me. So I'm just trying to walk through here. I'm going to have to talk a little babble for a while because we're coming to a louder part of the, there's a band here at the end of the street, and I want to make sure that we're not going to get a copyright problem, so I'm talking over it. You may or may not be able to make sense of what I'm saying, but it's mostly a protective mechanism. I do like the song. Horse with no name. Yep. So I'm not seeing either uniform, nor am I seeing the red t-shirts. Trying to kind of shelter my mic. We'll head over to, okay, just to give you an idea, right? So we just came off the street where the festival's going on. And later on this summer, they're going to have the Literary Festival. Now, the Literary Festival, it's much more likely that they'll have a table there, just because L. Ron Hubbard is the, world record of the most words written or most books published, something stupid like that. So there's a good impetus for them to be out there trying to sell books at a book festival or a literary festival. Hey, Queen Suki. So just 1 block away from that festival, we'll be on the street where Scientology is located. This morning, we saw a Scientologist who kind of came out of the back alley and went into their car. Their car has Florida plates on it. So much more likely that that's a on loan from potentially Clearwater, if I had to guess. While I'm up here, so there's a lot of people moving in this week. I'm going to go to the back door real quick. I just wanted to see if I could see any staff out on the sidewalk while I was here. I'm going to go to the back alley. Folks, what do you think the right call is here? Do I stay in this area, or do I head up towards the Sky and Water Show, or I'm sorry, the Air and Water Show, which is Chicago's biggest event of the year? You know what? NASCAR might actually be bigger than that, because NASCAR covers a mile as well. But the reason that they can say that the Air and Water Show is such a big event is that the crowd is spaced over a mile and a half of Chicago's lakefront watching the Air and Water Show. Nothing in the back alley. We'll go see if they had the courage to bring their blinds up or not. I do worry this is move-in day, right? This is definitely a time that they're going to try to be out here on the street, engaging with these the young students who are moving into the Dwight Tower or Dwight Loft next to the cult. You're going to hear me say cult quite a bit today. They do have the doors open, which they didn't have the doors open earlier today. Anything positive to share about your church? So today we've got several people here. We'll see that they're going to pull the shades down quickly, right? Hopefully you're seeing in on that. There is nobody at the administrative desk. So there are people in their cafeteria. A couple people in civilian clothing right now. You notice L. Ron Hubbard said the best way to control people is to lie to them. Are you lying to everybody? So we've got the doors closed. We'll get them to bring the shades down. So the cult has to hide? Is that what you're saying? We've got plenty of students next door, so there is a method to what's going on right now. Yes, I am saying the word cult. Is your cult unable to show the light of day here? You've got to hide from people? Where's your mest? Send me away. Use your mest. Is nobody here OT8? So just to, let me see if I think I've got you tight as possible. So, right, this is them showing off the awesomeness of the cult of Scientology, that they have to hide from one person, right? I'm one person and I have the power to pull their shades down. We saw nobody out on the back. Hey, Granny G, how are you? There was nobody in the alleyway. I was following somebody down. I saw an awful lot of plainclothes today that I didn't recognize as staff, so I'm going to say I assume that they're public. But I also did see some of the staff member come in plain clothing today. And when they come in plain clothing, I always feel that, Way to Happiness just came out over on the other side. So the blonde European, Eastern European, just came out of her building on the other side of the street. She's one that will always challenge me to say, hey, please don't follow me. My statement is going to be, please don't pass out Way to Happiness. So she's wearing her Way to Happiness. You can, I don't know if you, let me see if I can open that up. You can see the white ball cap there. She's coming to me. Good. She's gonna go to the back door, I think. I'm gonna run down there. Sorry, I forgot that I don't have my body cam on. I just turned my body cam on. Just want to see if we can catch her going back into the org. Yeah, she didn't keep going down here. Yep, there she is. So she's running to get back into the org. Right? That is Way to Happiness outfit. So it's got the green scrubs as a bottom. She's wearing the white ball cap that's got the circular logo. Way to Happiness has that circular logo. It's kind of got the sun shining on the top half, and then the horizon with a waterway looking element below it. Now she's going to have to knock. She'll get in before I get there, but she does have to knock in order to get in the back door. While we're here, we'll go ahead and look. I can see that the chain is on the garbage can right now. So they've got the trash bin locked up. It's been a very, very long time, but they're used that tape right there. It used to say SPTV Foundation. It's pretty much empty in there, the garbage can. Keep you guys a little bit there. I saw a question there. Yeah, I have no evidence that she did see me, but my guess is, so here's where she went in, right? So they come in the back door. No real evidence. I didn't see her before she started running, but yeah, why would they hide? Now, if you're in Chicago today, or near Chicago today, it's a beautiful day. Come down and have a walk with me. I'd really appreciate it. What's going to happen today is that I do know now that they intend to do body routing. They will probably try to squeeze people back and forth out the back door. I'll see if I can get back out in front fairly quickly, but I'm going to be playing zone. So, howdy James, hey Jules. With the new students in town moving in this weekend, just kind of giving them the education. Now, again, I talked to you in the earlier chat. I'm not going to walk up to a stranger who hasn't shown any interest in what's going on. Anybody that asks me a question or that stops and looks at me, stops and looks at the church, I feel that that's an invitation for me to talk to them, but I typically just don't walk up to strangers and say, by the way. So, that's my flaw or personality. Definitely you're seeing an awful lot of foot traffic here today, right? We saw when we got to the org on this afternoon session that the doors were open, the blinds were open. They very quickly shut the doors. They very quickly shut the blinds. I'll say that I always wonder, howdy lavender, the honey tastes great. We've definitely used it in a couple of dishes. Sorry, I'm just kind of keeping you off the, keeping the students kind of out of camera's view. They don't ask to be on camera. So let's see here. Let me I've been running around, sorry folks. Let me look back through the chat here. Good luck, Amy. I think if you read Dianetics, they would show you how to do it. But if you can't read Dianetics, then think about Instacart or any of the online grocery mechanisms. Howdy, Anna. Great to see you. So we had a session early this morning. We discovered something that I didn't know was going on. There's an art festival going on about a block away from here. Children can't consent. So you saw the child, or the mom had the big pink stuffed animal. It's up, you're fine. There's some students coming by too, so I'll keep it up in the air for a minute. We know that there's another festival that's going on a block away from here. This weekend is Chicago's Air and Water Show. It is a large, they'll talk about millions of people, spectators. We saw the Eastern European blonde. I don't have a name on her, but we've seen her many times, and we've frustrated her. She will oftentimes approach me saying, please stop following me, which I always find funny, that people that walk towards a camera and protest the camera. But moments ago, 5 minutes ago, we saw her on the far side of the street, and then she ran down the street, went to the back alley, and then ran to come in the back door. Kind of to give you an update on other elements, right? This past week, Scientology, the lawyers, Joe Cicala, have Joe Cicala, the state's attorney, have figured out a way to put a gag order on Nance Drew so that she cannot talk about Scientology on social media, which, again, it seems incredibly ludicrous, and it seems like an extreme violation of the law. I feel like her First Amendment right is being hampered and chilled in this space. Anything positive to share about the church? Nothing positive about your cult? How are the doubt stats coming along? Have you looked at the doubt stats? Isn't it strange that the church isn't getting their stats up? That Nance's case is against the state's attorney and Chadwick Burke, not against the Church of Scientology. So I find it very strange that her legal team was unable to shut down the gag order. I have not spoken with her. The only thing I've seen is public information. And for a while, I kind of want to keep it with the public information. I just don't want to accidentally be sharing information that isn't intended to be public. Like I said, I'd be troubled if my lawyer wasn't able to knock down a motion on the gag order. If the gag order was to say she can't talk about Chadwick, fine, I get it. That's who the presumed victim or the alleged victim in this case is. The church is not involved in this case, other than the fact that they've inserted themselves with their lawyer, Joe Cicala. who has no standing in court in this case, right? Chadwick Burke, being the person who feels that he was aggrieved, is being represented by the state's attorney. He doesn't need a personal lawyer. A personal lawyer does no good in court, right? You're absolutely correct, Jules. I can talk about it. We saw the guy that helped do the shades come down because, right, the cult can't have the shades up when there's any cameras out here. He's the one that helped bring the shades down. Yeah, I'm under no obligation I have no gag order. If I go to court, there's two things which I didn't know before. Number one, I can go talk to the state's attorney too. Now, I don't think it'll be helpful, but I do want the state's attorney, I want it to be known that the state's attorney has heard both sides of this story. Because Joe Cicala would cry to the state's attorney, oh, these people, they're out there protesting our church every day. Like, yeah, and that church is trafficking children every day. That church is abusing children every day. That church is illegally, are you okay? This church won't let women report crimes against them? Can you talk about the church? So naturally, those are going to be publics, right? Yeah, Michael, to the best of my knowledge, she is not allowed to talk about COS, or Church of Scientology, Cult of Scientology. Again, I have no firsthand knowledge. This is just what I'm seeing from what she's been able to put on to talk about publicly. Howdy, TCD. Hey, Lara, how you doing? Are you coming to Chicago on your little tour? And Fuzzy, if we can find her tour schedule, I'd love to share that out. So today we saw the child go in here a little while ago. That, you know, what was she, 9 years old? And I don't know if that's the same girl that's oftentimes brought in here by the father. Last week we saw the father come in with his daughter, right? So he brought his daughter to the front door, dropped her off, and then left. So now Scientology is a babysitting clinic? What's going on here? So we've got the Columbia College right here, right, the Dwight Towers, and the students are just now moving in to the school, or to their dorms for their semester, right? Lara, I don't know if you saw last week, and if you're still here, last week we had a gentleman, and he came to the door, and we gave him the story of Liz Ferris's father, and the idea that, the church told Liz that her father was dead, and months ago we found out that he was still alive. This guy looked out and he smiled and he goes, "I'm the dad, I'm the one. Yeah, that was me." You know, just being a despicable human being on the idea that it's okay to joke about the idea that the church that you're going into has intentionally lied to a family and let them believe that one of their family members was dead, right? Additionally, we talked to him, and he first came up and he said, "What's wrong with cults?" And my statement was, well, except for the human trafficking and the child abuse, you're right, there shouldn't be anything wrong with cults. And he goes, "I have a child and my child's not being abused." And my statement was, oh, if your child's not being abused, then it's okay, right? They can abuse other children, just not your child. Got a couple of teacup Yorkies coming by. Saw a beautiful Doberman earlier today. Thank you, Jules. I still am. So Pinche Becky has given me some information. I do think that we found the person, but it's behind a paywall, and you need cyber currency to do it. And I'm an old enough dinosaur. I have no idea what how to work with that. Yeah. Now the one thing I will say is I could not tell, especially I can't imagine that couple was actually in Scientology, because I don't even think Scientology would let you say stuff like that as a public member, to let that be on tape. I just think that he was a despicable human being. Now, the way that it had worked is he came up and he kind of confronted Corn Freak, and Corn Freak, he had asked Corn Freak, "Are you okay? Do you need Scientology?" And then asked, "What's wrong with the cult?" Then he left for about an hour. There was we had Lollapalooza here last weekend. He left for about an hour, and then he came back. And when he came back, that's when he said, we told him about the Bob Ferris story, and the idea that you just saw him smile and say, "I'm the dad. That was me." And I just as a human being, how in the world do you live with yourself to know that somebody's going through that kind of pain and you want to joke about it? How you doing? It's been a while.
How are you?
Very, very good.
Doing good. Are you exposing them?
Yes, yes.
Moving in already?
Yeah, I think they are. So all day long we see them. So
Thank you for exposing it.
try to be out here as often as I can.
Turned into a freshman only dorm.
I know, which I don't like, because now you don't have the continuity of last year's
They don't
students being
know.
able to tell you what's
Yeah,
going on
exactly.
here. So
That's what I was kind of thinking.
I never gave you this, but if you want to share this with anybody, so this is the website,
Oh,
and
great.
then
I'll just,
okay,
I want you to say that, because
all
I
right,
still use that.
no problem. All right,
Did you have Instagram? He's my roommate.
yeah.
Is the signature website?
Yeah, so that'll go to the website, and it'll tell you a lot of the stories. So that'll tell you the story about Serge Del Mar. It'll tell you the story.
Like a way to donate to your cause?
If you go to, let's see here, if you go to the YouTube site there, and there's a link tree on the YouTube site.
Okay, so.
I really appreciate that. And mostly, I will say that the money is to print more cards. I just want to be able to share it out as much as possible. Thank you, appreciate that so much.
Nice to see you.
No problem. I'm going to tell Israel you said hello.
What is that?
His buddy Israel. Sorry, folks. I probably missed a little bit there. Howdy, MLH. Great to see you. So these students know that, that the idea that this is now a freshman-only dorm, so there's no continuity. The students last year who learned how evil this cult is, they're not there the next year. So again, I think it's important that I'm out here. Anybody is out here, right? Sorry. Again, I try to give relief to the people that are here, that are bystanders. I don't want everybody to have to live their life on camera. They don't like living their life on camera. You can see that, right? Hey, if I come out when there's people here. By the way, he's got the wrong size pants on. I hate to be a style person, but he's got the wrong size pants on. So they'll move in over a course of time. They probably have 2 weekends to do that. But I mean, so this dumpster is full right now. And the reason it's full is it's because it's the people that are leaving who don't want to take some of their crap home. They'll put it in the dumpster here, right? You can see that there are 2 microwaves and 2 ovens in here as well. So there is a transition going on here, and there's people coming out and people going in. Anything positive to share about your church? Nothing positive about this cult? The cult of Scientology doesn't have anything positive to say today?
I'm
folks, remember, I'm not telling her that it's a cult of Scientology. I'm telling the other people that are on the sidewalk. They're hearing the word cult and they're starting to associate what's going on there. Are you okay that women can't report crimes against them here? Right? Being a Saturday, right? So we've got another staff member coming up the street right now. So being a Saturday, I would say close to 100. Hello. Anything positive to share about your church? Will the church let you talk about the church? Because if you can't talk about it, it's probably a cult. Again, right, so this gentleman walks by as I'm saying cult and he turns, right? It is, I do intentionally say those words because I want people to, their ears should perk up when they hear cult. Wait, that's next door to where I live. What's going on here? Now, we did have Way to Happiness out here. She went in the back door. I will tell you that I'm having a hard time keeping my eye on both corners. Thank you, Granny G. I really appreciate that. And Anna, same thing. And again, one thing I want to remind everybody, it's the way I protest. It's the way I feel okay with this. That doesn't mean it's the right way or anybody else protesting is the wrong way. That I do think that when Streets and the people that came after Streets shut down their biggest recruiting center, right? That Pearl crushed Austin, right? Austin did not have a good time when Pearl was out there. I don't feel good yelling, but I'm not saying that that's a bad idea. Sorry, so let me kind of go through here. If we look all the way down there, sorry. So one block that way is where you're going to see a possibility for the body router to come out behind me. And then the same thing up here, right? And you know, it's very hard. I've always said the more people that we can have come out here, you don't even need to stream. If you had a camera for safety's sake, and also you could just have a dead phone. You don't even need to, the phone doesn't have to be powered on. If you have a phone and you hold it up to this window, they will close those blinds. We've got another Scientologist coming across the street right now. If there were more people out here, I could rove a little bit more. And the idea that, you know, I worry that that way to life person is trying to get over to, oh, she was running back for lunchtime maybe. So maybe at 1 o'clock, she'll try and come out again. I just realized, right, we're in the lunch hour here. This gentleman's probably coming back from lunch. Anything positive to share with us? Nothing positive about the cult of Scientology? You're still going to protect the child abusers? Still going to protect the human trafficking? Kind of looking down the street here to see if I can find more people coming back to the org. We've got some students coming by. Let me walk down the street real quick. If you're newer to the channel, and I'm going to say that I think that we have a lot of people that are return visitors, and I really appreciate that. I'm still showing 75% new people. This building right here is the Imprint Apartments, and this is where Scientology will have some of their staff in there, up 6 to 9 people in a studio apartment, right? This building actually, they just renovated this wing down here, so these 2 floors of rooms down here just now got all of their appliances this morning, and they'll start renting those. That has nothing to do with Scientology, that's just to do with their imprint itself. You'll notice that when we first started this stream and I walked over towards the org, we did see a staff member, and that staff member went into a building. That is another building where there are people that are Scientologist staff members who they reside there. I don't have any inside information as to are they as dense in there as they are in Imprint, but I am comfortable and confident that there are people living in that building. The people in green right here, this is that big conference that I saw over on Michigan Avenue. The front of the shirt says No Mercy, K-N-O-W. And then the back says Mercy Worldwide. I think it's an interfaith conference. They're just all coming together. I will say that there will be fundraising in there. Not much different than what happens in Scientology, with a big exception that most of those churches, so churches that are Judeo-Christian, while they do take in a lot of money, they tend to help their neighborhoods, whether it be through food, clothing, shelter, education. They bestow upon, grant, give to the community. So they do make the community better. So we just missed, got a guy with his mic up his mouth. So a lot of motorcycle guys playing their music as loud as possible, because that's cool. But we did just miss, right? So the older skateboard guy and the gentleman that had just left the org behind those 3 women earlier, they're heading back from lunch. Now, one thing I want to be careful of is staying away from the people in the green shirts, in that I don't want Scientology to have that image. Yeah. I don't want Scientology to have that image to show that I'm granting pressure to people other than Scientology. So all of the Scientologists should be back in there within the next 4 minutes. At which time we might start seeing them try to bring the body routers out. Yeah, El Sarmento, they do not own that building. And quite honestly, I think they are violating the lease, because in a studio apartment, you're usually supposed to have 1, maybe 2 people that live in a studio apartment. It's the maintenance people that realized there were more than that in there. So Scientology has no connection with that building other than the fact that they might be, if it's Sea Org people, they might be paying the rent. Now, I do know there are people who declare themselves as staff members. So on their Facebook or on their Instagram, they'll have shown, I just joined staff in Chicago. And so that would be Jessica, Chad, Anastasia. Those are people that they claimed that they had just joined staff. So they should not be getting any kind of stipend from Scientology to live there. Do you know that L. Ron Hubbard thought that people of color were degraded beings? So, Jules, I have told so if you look on there, it's actually called Gray Star. Imprint at graystar.com. So graystar.com, I've called them up and I've let them know that there are people in there that are more people than that. Thank you. So I don't have StreamYard going, so I can't really show that, but thank you so much. I think that was Anna. Oh, let me see if I can. Anna, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. It is possible that the reason that we're seeing them spread out to other buildings is because they were getting kind of pressure from not the landlord necessarily, but the holding company that owns these apartment buildings. We've got another gentleman coming across the street. This is somebody who I don't recognize, so this is a new face. He is going to be late. I think he'll be late. I'm showing that it's 12:59, unless he gets over here very quickly. Anything positive to share about the church? Nothing positive about the cult of Scientology? You can't share anything positive about your cult?
Fok Scientology. Fuck them guys.
All right. And my wife's South African. I love when she swears.
Do you not like Scientology?
Not one bit. They're a cult. They're a child trafficking, human trafficking cult. Not sure if you heard him when he first came up, but I love when people that are Queen's English say F-U-C-K. They make it. They pronounce it F-O-K. Folk. Okay, we've got I think a public and a Scientologist coming up here. Anything positive to share about the church? Will the church let you talk about the church? Because if not, that's a cult. Just, you can't think freely, you're not free. Got some more students coming down the street. So, Jules, it could be that he's public, right? So he is somebody who is, remember, public pays for course. The reason that staff is here is so that staff can be their stewards and their liaisons and help them progress up the bridge to total freedom. So whether or not that's, they can't take the high OT levels here. I'm going to mess this up. I think that you can get up to OT 5 at a class 5 organization. I'm not positive. But then if you want to go higher than that, you've got to go out to California, or you have to go to a Sea Org base. One of the things that we've heard recently, right, is that they will go to South Africa because it's cheaper to get their classes in South Africa. Okay, so they can only get to clear here. Thank you, Dave. So remember, there's that large number of pre-OT or pre-clear classes. What is it? History of Man or Story of Man, Way to Happiness, Ups and Downs. And I know that Ups and Downs is not the name of that course, but there is that. There's the PTS course. There are several courses that they have to take in this place. Now, they also might be, so as a staff member, they might be somebody who have already achieved a higher state, a higher OT level because they did travel down. But then they come back here to, freshen up on courses, or maybe they're in trouble for some reason or another. They've got to come here and spend money or buy some books so that they can be routed out. There's any number of reasons that a public might come in here. But I do think that person was in fact public. I don't recognize him with any consistency having been here in uniform. Now, it is important, right, that I'm sure that once they get on the other side of that door or prior to that, they would have been given some education that pay no attention to the crazy bald guy outside, right? And that's fine. They can call me a crazy bald guy. That's their right. That doesn't make them right. Yeah, Merzi, that's one of the reasons that I just kind of keep on restating these same things. Remember, their trick to getting people sucked into this is to repeat the same thing over and over again, right? Touch that door, touch that wall, do this, say that, but do it over and over again. And the reason that I kind of mimic some of these statements or repeat some of these statements is that it will, I just heard somebody drive by and said cult. The reason that I regurgitate that is that hopefully it is something that sinks in with them, like, why does that guy keep on saying this stuff out there, right? Hi, Marina, how you doing? So far today, and by the way, I think I'll wait until for another 10 minutes, I'll stay out front here, but then I want to head over to the art festival again, because I don't know if our Eastern European friend, if she kind of went out the back and was able to slide past either end of the street past me. So far, we've seen a Scientologist walk into a building that's a couple of blocks away from here. It's their residence. We've seen several Scientologists come up here. We had a little bit of an interaction with a couple of the friends that I've met several times here, go through here. We've seen the Eastern European blonde. She was on the other side of the street in the Way to Happiness uniform, and she very quickly ran around back so she could go in the back door and not have to come past me. And she's the one that I'm guessing, if she was already dressed up like that, I hadn't seen her from 8:30 until 11 o'clock, which was my first session out here, that she would have just been coming on to staff, right, or coming on to shift. We've got one of the older females coming up the street right now. Historically, and especially if I'm not near the org, she'll say hi to me if I say hi to her. If I'm in front of the org, I don't think that she gives me the same positivity in that space. Hey, Patrick, if you're here, and I don't know if it'll come because there's a 10-second lag, what's the doubt stat that I'm asking about? How are you today? So we got a reaction. Again, there's a couple of them that if I keep on showing them that I'm not the devil, eventually one of them's going to talk to me, right? Or one of them's going to say, I'm going to be able to say, let's go have dinner one night. And one of them's going to say yes. Sorry, Patrick, is it the doubt stat? You keep on telling me to ask them about I think it's called the doubt stat or the conditions of doubt stat. And one of the problems is when I don't repeat these things, if I don't repeat the doubt formula, thank you, David. If I don't repeat these things, they just don't stick with me. So, yeah, yes. Sorry, folks, I'm not clear. I don't have perfect recall. And by the way, that was sorry, not sorry. I want to say thanks. We had some second gens in, or some former Scientologists in. We did repeat the story of the gentleman who mocked us telling him about Bob Ferris and the idea that one of our friends had been told that their parents were dead, their father was dead, and then months ago the father finally shows up again. So that's just how ugly this cult is. So there's our public leaving again, right? This was the gentleman that walked in with the female. Thank you, Jules. I think what that's supposed to show.
Should we put him in a stroller? He seems tired. Sure. Well, go in a stroller.
I ain't tired. I'll walk forever. Was a long-haired Dempsey, great having you in here. So far, we've been able to, contact a few staff members that come in, all silence. We did talk to a couple, not talk to, we talked at a couple of, you're fine. Do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? It's the Church of Scientology. Are you new here? Yeah. Okay. Okay. No problem. Oh, so you know about them. So how close is Sarasota to Clearwater?
About an hour.
Oh, okay. So they're headquartered in Clearwater, but this is the cult of Scientology.
Cult of Scientology?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So no, not nice at all.
Well, I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So what they're going to claim they're a church, and they do some nice things at the low level, but then you get into the point of they'll take everything you want to do in this church, you pay money for. They have foreign visa people that come over on their foreign exchange religious visa, and then they take their passport for them so that they are stuck in the church. They'll make children listen to adults talk about the most perverse things in the world as part of their learning in that space. So if you ever want to learn more, xenu.net and that scan code there will tell you all of the abuses of what this church does. So Danny Masterson, you know Danny Masterson from that 70s show?
No.
So he's a movie star. He's a member in good standing with this church. He's in jail right now for 30 years to life. He raped three of their members, and when those members came forward and told the police, the members were excommunicated from the church, not Danny Masterson. So the person that did the actual crime is still a member in good standing of this church.
Wow.
If you ever see them, you want to stay very far away from them, as far away as possible.
Sounds good. Thanks for letting me know.
No problem. Yeah, you want to stay away from it. Very dangerous. Can I hand you something?
What is this?
So this is information about the things they do wrong. They'll tell you the things they do right. These are the things they do wrong. Yes, be very, very careful. Thank you. We just lost another one going out the other door. You can see the gold uniform out there. I like that question, Dave. Yeah, you know, so some of the people that have given me the questions that I feel most comfortable with are people like Tori, people like Phil Jones. Are you okay that women can't report crimes against them when committed by somebody in this church? Does that seem fair? Thank you, Dempsey. Now, one of the things, and Patrick gets to correct me all the time, I do make mistakes when I'm mentioning this because I have such a short, there's only so much time I have to engage people, right? I can only talk to people in very short quips, so I have to abbreviate, and I know that Danny Masterson is not in jail for 30 years to life. He's in jail for life with the possibility of parole after 30 years. I can say one of those things very fast, and I would still say that somebody in jail for 30 years is somebody who it's going to draw the ire of somebody saying, why is he still a member of the church, right? So why would you still be a member of the church if you abused 3 of the women in that church? Yeah, Jules, and again, I just want to say that it really does only take one thing. What the interesting problem is, nobody knows what that one thing is, and it's not one thing to everybody. It's everybody has their own one thing. If we know, right, if we kind of hear about this problem, that Aaron will tell you that the central reason he hates Scientology, by the way, not the only reason he hates Scientology. I know that people think, oh, he's okay with child abuse. It's just that he doesn't like family separation. That's not a true statement. He is most invested in family separation, right? It doesn't mean he appreciates child abuse. It's just that that wasn't something that impacted him directly, right? Tori is somebody who, she said she woke up when she realized that she was suppressing free speech. And when she was suppressing free speech, that's what made her wake up. That doesn't mean that she's okay with human trafficking. She hates human trafficking just as much as the rest. It's the thing that woke her up was not human trafficking in that space. There are, Serge, right? His number one objective is to stop the child abuse in this church. He's not okay with human trafficking. He is not okay with disconnection. It's just that he concentrates or points at. When I tell you about what I'm doing out here, I'm trying to keep people from going into that church. Does that mean I don't want to bring somebody out of that church? Absolutely not. I absolutely would love to be able to bring somebody out of that church. But I feel more equipped and better suited to stop people from going in, right? We get these black and white statements, which are very cultish, right? The cult is very black and white. And the idea that says, oh, if I'm saying that I'm against family disconnection, I must be for everything else, which is an untrue statement in every way, shape, and form, but it's a fun argument to make, and you get lots of clicks when you write articles about it and when you put chats up about that. You know, just talking about Serge again. Serge had such a despicable upbringing in what he had to endure. And the idea of the massage tables he had to listen to, and he was not only verbally but physically abused by members of this church, and he couldn't leave the room. He had to stay in the room. That was his job in that space. I contend his is not a unique story. He's the one that we hear about. I'm not trying to lessen the story of Serge Delmar. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are probably 1,000 other stories just like Serge Delmar's that we don't hear because the child wasn't able to overcome it and come out. The child didn't survive the process and couldn't come out. The child got out and didn't want to remember anything that happened in the past, right? Just because we only hear about one story doesn't mean we should think, oh, well, they did that once, right? Why in the world is there a massage table inside of the Scientology audit room, right? Give me a good explanation for that. All right, I'm going to stop ranting there. We're going to go on the move again. I'll check the alley to see if there's anybody back there. I want to go over to the art festival to see if anybody. We're about 20 minutes past the hour, so most of the people should be back from lunch and should be ready to do their afternoon jobs at this point in time. Sorry, I'm reading Patrick's. By the way, I should not read when I'm walking. This is when I fall over. By the way, falling over is mostly embarrassing. I heal from it very quickly, but I do feel silly. We're going to look down the back alley real quick. Folks, I have to walk past the music at the festival very quickly because, again, ooh, all right, let's push the staffers inside. So we do have, who wants to bet this guy won't be out there when I get down there? This is going to be tough for him because he's got the phone in one hand and the soda in the other hand, so how is he going to knock? He's going to have a hard time getting people in. All right, after we get him inside. You know what? I did a story, and again, everybody saw Aaron's story, but I did the same story a couple of days ago on, what was it, Matt Willis and Emma Willis. And he was just walking down the street at a time that was low in his life. He had just gotten out of rehab, and they were able to pull him in. And he had bought all the books, all the courses he was buying on a daily basis. So, look, he wasn't able to stand out here. So his confront is not all that good. No ability to confront and shatter. Sorry. But yeah, Matt Willis was one of, is it Matt Willis? Sorry. He is the host of Love is Blind in the UK. And his wife is a host of several other reality shows in the UK. My friend Dave Knowles, who we talked to probably back in April, right? He was at a low point in his life, and the Scientology marketing is built to take advantage of people who are at a low point in their life, right? It works best on people that are at a low point in their life. I will tell you that there is a Netflix special, How to Be a Cult Leader. It's a series of 6 shows, and there's one mention of Scientology in the whole thing, and it's because one of the cult leaders was Charles Manson. And as we know, in the show, it says Charles Manson learned about Scientology in prison, but we all know that it was because Natalie was out body routing. So Natalie brought Charles Manson into the church. But I'm going to go over that with Natalie, and we're going to say, okay, so in general, here's how to make a cult leader. And how did that show up in Scientology, right? What did LRH do, or what did David Miscavige do that demonstrates this principle of how to be a cult leader? And early on, you see a couple of victims of different cults, People's Temple, Heaven's Gate, that they will talk about this idea that a cult leader is going to come up to you that they've got a story about your problem and they've got just a solution for you, and that's what pulls you in to being a member of these cults. And it's, again, the boiling frog principle, right? The idea that when you first get in, it seems so reasonable, right? Save the world? Yes, I'm in. I want to save the world. And then you find out that that's really not what's going on, but whether you want to call it sunk cost fallacy or embarrassment on that idea that, hey, I've come this far, I might as well go a little bit further. Or you believe the, hey, I know we didn't tell you everything in your last step, but OT4, we're going to tell you all the truths. And then you take OT4 and you learn nothing new. And then you take OT5, because OT5 is where all the truths are. And then you learn nothing new. And you say, well, what we really meant was OT6, right? It's that, they're leading you along this whole time. All right, I'm kind of looking down the sidewalk here. We're going past the generator. Sorry, folks. Here we are back in the art festival. I'm going to go ahead and put this up a little bit bigger so you can see some of the artwork. I'll try to walk slowly. Hopefully the gimbal's keeping you stable. Again, I'm just scanning the crowd. I want to see if I can find our person who was out in the Way to Happiness. She was the blonde Eastern European that we've had plenty of interactions with. I'll get a little ways down here and then I'll cut over into the farmer's market. They're shutting down. The farmer's market is usually just the late morning. I'm not seeing any flyers sitting on any of the vendors' desks. Yeah, so they're shutting down here. I'm just doing a kind of a quick scan. I don't see any propaganda. I don't see any uniforms. All right, folks, do I stay in this area or do I head up to the Air and Water Show? This one's very cool because they're doing a lot of mechanics with, so the pepper shaker, but they're making it out of different things, and a coffee mill, but they're making it out of like beer cans, baseball bats, baseballs. Now, one thing that they might do is, again, we saw the car from Florida earlier today. Are they going to take advantage of going out the hallway or going out the alley, shepherding the body router into the car, and then moving them out of this zone? We get beers here from Roots. Yeah, we didn't see anybody in there. Sorry. I asked a question and then I didn't look at the chat. Is it preseason? So, and the Bears are ahead. Oh my gosh, what's going on there? That doesn't seem right. We're heading back to Clark Street along Polk, P-O-L-K. These streets are all named after the presidents. So as you come down here, this is the last of the presidents. You've got, from the top, you've got Washington, Monroe, Madison, Adams, Jackson, Van Buren. Then you get a little bit of a break at the Congress Expressway. Congress Expressway, and then you get Harrison and Polk. Here we see Nino in his Dianetics shirt. He'll be heading up here shortly. I know his name is Nino because many of the Scientologists can't give up their social media. So you can find a lot of people in the network of friends for the Scientologists. So Joe Sakala and his wife, well, now it's Kristen Sakala, I assume, but might be still Kristen Ehrlich. They still have a Facebook presence. Jessica has a Facebook presence. Asada has a Facebook presence. So it's just so easy to run through all of them. Now, the body router, and again, we have not seen the thin black body router, and he should have been out here today. My expectation is he's always been foundation staff, which means that he's evenings and weekends, but have not seen him for a month and a half at this point. So did he quit? Did he get moved on to another org? Did he ask to go to another org? Is he in trouble? So we still see the blinds are down. Nothing positive about the church today? Will the church let you talk about the church? I like how he tries to pull the door closed all the time. So that's Nino Aquino. Aquino? Probably Aquino. Never in. The guy that we just saw, Nino, that's amazing. And if you look at the, right, we've got the card and it's got the scan code on the back. On the scan code on the back, not only is it showing you articles that are explaining, you know, the Lisa McPherson issues, the Ellie Perkins issues, Serge Del Mar, Miriam Francis. It's also got links to both sptvfoundation.org as well as the email address. Sorry, she took a very quick left-hand turn. You know, the women can't report sexual abuse against them in this church, right? I thought that she was going in there, and then when I put the camera down, she decided to walk by. And again, that's this idea that I have so little pride in my church that I have to let people think I'm not going in. Oh, never in. You know, that I love that story because hopefully that's the positive story. Well, A, he might have gotten in trouble for taking it if he took it in front of a camera or if he asked somebody about it. But then the other one is, did he potentially find a way out? That is great. Love to hear that. And folks, if you're interested, Never In. So a lot of people so those two, they are oftentimes at the front desk and they'll pull the shades down. They're in civilian clothes as well today. What was I saying? Darn it. Now, I hope that we do hear from him again and it's a positive story. Gotcha. So yeah, it might have been that if he got caught, he might have gotten in trouble. But I want to stay positive and think that he decided that he would take advantage of that card. I don't know if we'll see it, but I can tell you. Oh, I see it there. So I saw them in the reflection of this building. There was a fighter jet that just went overhead, and the jet would have been for the air show. So Chicago is not under attack. I love it. Never In did tradesies. What I was saying is Never In was up in Lakeview this past week, and she gave us another view of the Scientology building that is no longer being used up in Lakeview. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick poll, and I know that you're supposed to be able to do polls. I'm not even going to try. So put a 1 in the chat if I should stay in this area between here and the art festival. Put a 2 in the chat if I should head up to the Air and Water Show. Mr. Skinner, that's very challenging. As many powers that being SP has granted me, 2 places at once is not one of those powers. So my mest is not that strong, or my causation over mest is not that strong. Yeah, I do think that they will be recruiting up there. What I don't know is, will they have launched from here? Will they have launched from home, per se? Adam, I like the jocularity. So it is not Aaron's water show. Nor is it Tommy Bartlett's. If you were with me in the car last week, or a month ago, you would have seen us drive past Tommy Bartlett up in the Wisconsin Dells, the Tommy Bartlett Water Show. This is the Air and Water Show, which, by the way, I don't know why they still call it the Air and Water Show. It usually opens up with the, is it the Black Knights are the paratrooping squad out of the Army? They'll parachute down. They'll land on boats, and then that's about the last you'll see of boats the whole day. And it's hard to see boats, everybody can see the sky, not everybody can see the water. So we're looking down here. Nobody in the alley. There's somebody at the very far end of the alley. But that's just somebody on a bicycle, so I just think that's a neighbor person. Still curious where the way to happiness person is. So Adam, it's a once a year show. It's really amazing. You're going to hear on the mic, you will hear the supersonic boom. They won't go the subsonic boom. They'll travel by. They're not allowed to go supersonic. If they went supersonic, it would just shatter the windows in all of these buildings here. But the military jets, it's really impressive. And the last 2 days, they just do practice. And these military guys, right, they love kind of racing through the city and dodging the skyscrapers. It's got to be like the biggest thrill in the world to them that it's like an obstacle course as they come through the city on the Thursday and Friday before the air show. But the air show is usually just one, well, not usually, it's once a year. I will tell you, there's another air show in Gary, Indiana, out at, oh darn it, something beach. But it's a really small beach there, and that's a much smaller air show, but they come out of the Gary airport. That's where most of these planes are going to come out of as well today. So they're coming from over in Indiana, and they can fly over here and lickety split. But it's even faster to get over the air show when they're down there. This is the guy that I gave the card to earlier. I'm glad that he's still walking by. Still closed up. The face looks recognizable. I just want to see what's going on here. Yeah, he doesn't want to be seen going in. Right. I'm lost. I don't know exactly where I'm at. Yeah, if you live in some of these tall residences, they have rooftop parks, and you'll be up there. Just go out there. It's one of the. This is the weekend where you're the cool kid in the block. That you invite everybody over, and you just go have a glass of wine, and watch. Sit back and watch the air show on a Thursday or a Friday. So, I'm going to tell you, this is a hypothesis. I could be absolutely wrong. The guy in the black, right, that's over the, let's see, we'll see him here. He was very curious. He slowed down when he got to the building. He saw the camera. He was very hesitant, trying to see what he's walking past right now. I think that he's going to go in. He just didn't want to be seen on camera going in. I could be absolutely wrong, but that is another one of the privileges I get being on the channel. Let me move away from here just a bit. That will sometimes make them think it's safe. to come back. No, now he's moving further down the street. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I am going to go past, I got a good shot of him anyhow. I am going to go past the art fair one more time, and then we'll head over to the lakefront, see if we can get some views of airplanes. That should really be a Windy Wanders. By the way, if you didn't know, I do have another channel, Windy Wanders the City. And in that one, we just, we pick a neighborhood, we pick one of the transportation lines, and we just go explore it. Let's go see what's in this neighborhood. I will give you the stories that I know about these buildings or these parks or these bars. And yeah. You may or may not find it interesting. If you like any of the stuff that we see here when I'm walking around, especially in the early days of this channel, I used to always, walk for maybe 15 minutes to a half hour after the show, and we would just look at the neighborhoods, whether it was the Loop or the river. All right, we're walking east off of Clark Street, down Harrison. There's a lesser street that comes before Dearborn, but it's treated more like an alley. There are some places, there's a residence to the south that has a door there, but this is mostly the backside of buildings that are on Dearborn Street. So this street is called Federal Street. It's not an alley, it's an actual street, but like I said, it's treated much more like an alley. As you can see here, right, they've got the dumpsters out back. Again, we've seen this several times, but this is the printing press in Printers Row. We're looking for the shorter blonde girl. She's got a white t-shirt and green scrub pants on with a white ball cap. She's blonde. If you see her, raise your hand. The music's pretty loud here, so I'm gonna walk down the street here for a bit, and we'll talk, and we'll try to get away from the copyright strike. We've got nobody over on this end. I'm looking through the crowd very quickly, not seeing anybody. Hopefully the microphone is now behind my body so you can't hear it anymore. But we're, again, walking down the sidewalk. Let me head over to the street. Good. Yeah, I'm pretty far down the road. So here again, you're seeing that No Mercy t-shirt.
What a museum would use to archive.
I would expect that if it was a cross-religion get-together, that Scientology would have tried to put somebody in the group if they knew about it. So there might have been some Scientologists in there. Keeping in mind, no problem. Scientology has no care or concern for the Judeo-Christian religions, nor for Islam. That we are the gods, right? Thetans are the gods.
a couple more.
Pens.
So maybe we're confused by it.
Kind of making our way through the crowd here.
I said thank you, thank you. Okay, oh my god, Yeah.
So they're starting judging. I was unaware that they do judging here. I don't know what the parameters of the judging is. Is it artwork in the studio? Is it or in the tent? Is it the person that set up their tent the best? Just no idea. So now we're down at the bottom of Dearborn. We're on Polk Street. We definitely didn't see her in there.
Oh, that's an aroma.
Now we're going to head over to the lakefront. We might start walking up the lakefront. Now the air show is actually about a mile and a half north of us. So we'll have to walk quite a bit to actually get into the area where you'd see dense foot traffic. But in that time, maybe I'll be able to show you some cool sky show stuff. I know that you're here for I hope that you're here for Scientology. We definitely have seen some Scientology. Let me see if I can get across this street real quick. We'll head up to Balbo. Yeah, I think the only reason they don't have a booth here is because it's the art festival, and there was nothing literature-wise. The only thing I saw that was a little bit off was it was either T-Mobile or Verizon had a booth there, but there were no other booths that weren't art. There was two booths that weren't art-related. One of them was a chiropractor. And I kind of looked at the chiropractor's table. I couldn't see anything easily identifiable as wise. And then the Verizon element. Howdy. So now we're coming past Buddy Guy's Legends. Here's the tile wall of fame. Nicole, I do think that this sounds like an arrogant statement, but I do think that Scientology does watch me, and one of the reasons is that there will be times where the blinds will come down just before I arrive, and there's no reason for Scientology to pull the blinds unless they were doing that. Now, I kind of want to caveat that a little bit. Nobody in this org, unless there is an OSA person, and every org has some OSA people in them, the OSA person can watch, right? Or a person who probably has gotten past the wall of fire, some of those upper levels where the things that I say on the channel aren't going to give them pneumonia. So they have to relay stuff. So the one thing that I think is happening when they watch my channel is that they might see that I'm going one place or another, but they have to use their phones or text to kind of alert either the body routers or anybody else that, hey, he's coming, street X, go street Y. But I don't know if they have enough manpower to write 200. Hey folks, I think you might have just lost me. This happens fairly frequently as I approach Mission Avenue. So sorry if I dropped out for a minute there. So somebody down here is protesting something very loudly. They've got a megaphone. Not sure what their protest is. We're in Grant Park right now. There's a guy that's trying to exercise his horn. As you enter into Grant Park, this first section that's along Michigan Avenue, it has a set of railroad tracks that split it. This set of railroad tracks goes underneath the Art Institute, and then it goes under Grant Park to those very tall buildings. So you see the tallest building there is the Aon building. That used to be the Standard Oil building, and prior to the Sears Tower was the tallest building in the world. But this set of tracks goes down, and there's a train station at the base of those large buildings. And then here's those going down. Yeah, Patrick, sorry, I know I was, darn it. Oh, there's something going on here in the second half of Grant Park, or Grant Park then has another road separating it, which is Columbus Avenue. And there's a road still closed. Now this might be them still cleaning up after Lollapalooza. The more important part of the park is the part of the park that's closest to the city. As you can see here, right, we've got ball fields, tennis courts down there, and those tennis courts are probably now all pickleball courts, because nobody plays tennis, everybody plays pickleball. You can see the grass looks like it took quite a beating here. You can see that it's, I've mentioned this before on the channels. The one thing that I don't really like about Lollapalooza is how much it tears up our front lawn, right? That all of this grass is matted down. Maybe some watering will spring it back to life. Wow, that megaphone is very loud. I've walked 2 blocks and I feel like I can hear it just as loud as I could before. I'm not gonna make that light. There is a very brightly colored runner. Here we've got Columbus Avenue. And sorry, Patrick, I think part of your answer was, yeah, so DSA, right, is the director of Special Affairs, and that is an OSA post. I don't think they report like they don't report to the executive director here. They report back to whatever the OSA leader would be in that space, right? So whether that's, I assume that, does OSA operate all out of Pac Base, or are they also down in, do they also have operations at Flag? Yeah, one of I will oftentimes, if I tell one of the body routers, if I tell them the Wall of Fire story, and the Wall of Fire story is shorthand for, the Xenu story of, the Galactic Overlord rounded up all of the Thetans, brought them to Earth, put them in volcanoes. They came frozen, put them in volcanoes, blew them up with hydrogen bombs. If you hear about that before you're ready to, you'll probably die of pneumonia. So I would oftentimes tell those body routers, I apologize if I just gave you pneumonia. Oh, you know what? And I didn't even think about Jules. Yeah, again, this is stupid never in here. That it could also be that they were supposed to be out of golden era. That right, the secret base might be where OSA was operating or headquartered. Right, so they operate out of everywhere. So I want everybody to understand that OSA is everywhere. Tori was OSA. I earlier on thought that you had to be staffed to be OSA, but that is not a true statement. They recruit publics, and remember that Tori had epilepsy and needed medication for that, so she could no longer be in Sea Org, but she still wanted to be in Scientology, so she just became a public. And she was an OSA person while she was in as a public. That's what gives her so much insight into a lot of the items that are going on. And she was the one that did all the technical work to get the fake accounts that OSA set up so that they could get into alt Scientology and so many other places like that. Boy, it is really a pretty day out here, but here you see Buckingham Fountain, a little smaller fountain right here. We're showing pornography on YouTube right now. Got the lake right over here. So if you ever watched Married with Children, this was basically the opening of that. Yeah, you know what I think is that, Jules, I'm similar to you. I always thought that that was the concentration of the highest level executives. And it likely was for a period of time, but then when David Miscavige didn't feel like he had heavy enough influence over those people, he kind of moves around, I feel, and says, hey, the new head of this organization is going to be based here or there. Pull that down a little bit. Well, I hope that's coming through as clearly on your end as it is on mine, but we're getting quite a good, well, to me, quite a clear picture of the fountain and the skyline behind it. Clearer than OSA's blinds? I'm sorry, clearer than Scientology's blinds? Looks like the, oh. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to wait a cycle. Sorry, folks. I know we're kind of off the beaten path. That the air show is on the other side of that tall black building on the right-hand side. I'll walk us along the lakefront. Again, this is much more of a Windy Wanders the city. If we look down the Lakeshore Drive this way, you've got the Field Museum right there. So that's our beautiful Museum of Natural History. The old dinosaur Sioux T-Rex is on display there. There's a large brontosaurus there as well. There's a pterodactyl, or one of the flying dinosaurs there. There's also there's some living exhibits at the Museum of Natural History, and some gemology. One thing, and Granny G, I don't know if Granny G is still in, but Granny G let us know that, hey, if you ask a museum, can I go downstairs and look through the drawers? A lot of them are going to say yes, right? You might want to have a reason in place for it, but the vast majority of exhibits that museums own are not on display, right? A lot of museums are hotbeds for research, right? So you're going to bring students and PhD students in to come down and inventory, catalog, try to make guesses, assumptions about what the exhibits are, or what the items are in the inventory. It's oftentimes funny if you, there's a channel I love to watch, Stuff You Missed in History Class, I think. And when they do Unearthed, they do a show every quarter, once a quarter, Unearthed, things that are found in just around the world, whether it's sunken ships or artwork or things stuck in the basement of a museum, but that's a common element. Museums have an awful lot more than they can ever display, and every once in a while somebody finds something in the basement of a museum and it's like, oh my gosh, do you know what we have here? So this little section here, we are not going to see, I don't think that we're going to see, well, there won't be dense crowds, and we're not going to see any Scientologists down here. So here you've got a little Navy landing boat coming by. Chicago was essential as a training base during World War II. So the pilots would be trained here, and the rationale being that it was so far away from the coasts that we were free and safe to train our pilots and our Navy submariners and so on and so forth, because there was no way that we were going to have intrusion from foreign powers. So you've got the Great Lakes Naval Station. Navy Pier was I'm going to try and boost it up a little bit there. You see the, oops, there's a red helicopter way out there. That's probably something to do with the Air and Water Show. They might drop a parachuter or a halo diver out of there. Got a motorboat coming down here and a sailboat on the outside of it. That is awesome, Thaddeus. I'm a big fan of Chicago and Navy Pier, and as a runner, I love being there in the morning. It's a little bit too crowded for me usually during the day. That for the most part, people only want to go to the restaurants at this end of it, and you can see the Ferris wheel in the middle there. They want to be part of the Ferris wheel, or go on the Ferris wheel ride. But if you go out to the far end, where you see those two piers out there, There's a beautiful ballroom out there, and it's a great event space. So yeah, I don't know if if that's what Bridge was mentioning, but most of the submarines were made up in Wisconsin at a place called Manitowoc, and the way that they would get to the theater of operations or battle is they would come down Lake Michigan, they would enter into the locks right down the Chicago River to the Des Plaines, to the Fox, to the Illinois, out to the Mississippi, and then down to the Gulf. All right, now I'm looking out there to see if I can find flashing red and green lights. If you're seeing it on a boat, it's telling you the port and starboard side of the boat. I don't remember which is on which side, but if you're a mariner, you would know that green's on one side and red's on the other. The same thing with a lighthouse, so there's a, you might be able to see it a little bit. That the opening to this harbor is basically right out there. There's a break wall in between there. And one of those lights is going to be red and one of those lights is going to be green. And that's the indicator to show the people coming in and going out which side they should be on. Folks, I know that we're a little bit off of the topic of Scientology and protesting Scientology. We were out there today, and we'll probably head back down there. But I do want to head up to the Air and Water Show just to see if we can find anybody out there. So if you look out here, all of these boats, they're on what are called mooring balls. Those little buoys are anchored to the bed of the lake. And then the way that you get there is these two blue boats. They're owned and operated by the Park District, and you rent them. You pay them, therefore hire, and it's usually $5 or $10 a person to get you out to your boat. Now, what people tend to do is the captain will go out to their boat, they'll get the boat ready, prep it, and then they'll bring the boat back in so that you don't have to get 6 or 7 people paying the tender ferry cost or price. These are the pedicabs. You would have seen them with corn and I think it was heligear. Might have been Never and Nana. We're down on the lakefront a couple of weeks ago.
Trees on both sides of pack.
I'll tell you that I just saw this red t-shirt ahead of me and I automatically go to, oh my gosh, another Dianetics. But no, he's a Wisconsin guy. All the pedicabs here. Now, a couple of years ago, there was only one path here for walking along the lake, and it was somewhat dangerous because you had bicycles and pedestrians, runners and walkers, and because there was such a difference in speed, it was just dangerous to have bikes and pedestrians on the same path. And we were able to get the founder of Citadel. So Citadel Investments is, I think his name's Ken Griffin. He donated a large sum of money so that the city of Illinois, or I'm sorry, the city of Chicago could create the two separate paths. So now you're seeing the cyclists, and there happen to be a runner up. There's a runner up there as well. But you've got the cyclists up above us, and then the pedestrians are on this path. And for almost the entire duration of the path, it's separated. There are a few places where it's just one path, and it's just because there wasn't enough room to create a second path. So it'll be one path, but usually they'll try to use paint to separate the two processes. Got some geese up here. I don't know if I'll be able to see them. Oh, there they are. I'm terrible trying to use this gimbal. Yep, Lucky Badger, absolutely correct. I think I'm heading out to a Badgers game later this month. Got a motorboat out here, pumping up their volume. This, if we go a little bit further north, and you can't, well, I don't know if they're in there today or not. The area just north of Navy Pier is called the Playpen, and that is typically a place where during the day, all of these boats will go out and they'll raft up. They'll put their slides out, they'll put floating rafts out, and it's just sun tanning and a beer drinking element, or beer drinking fun. I guess you can drink any kind of liquor or soda you want to. Definitely seeing a lot of people here. Now we're pretty far. We're, if as the crow flies, we're 1.5 miles away from the org, and it would probably take 2 miles of walking to get there. I am from Chicago. I go. And I will say this: it's very funny. If somebody lives in Naperville, if you're in Illinois, you tell people you're from Naperville. If you're anywhere outside of Illinois, you're just from Chicago because it's easier. So there are a lot of people that say they're from Chicago, and that's a true statement. I live in Chicago right now. I've always lived within 30 miles of here. I did have a year of my life where I spent up in Boston, but I was born within 30 miles of here, and I mostly lived within 30 miles of here. I'm a big fan of the city of Chicago. Oh, excellent. Yes. Definitely, let's get over to brain fog. Let's boost her up to 1,000. At 1,000, she can take David Miscavige money, because David Miscavige is still the biggest advertiser on all of the anti-Scientology channels. Now, Champaign is a little bit further off the reservation, but it is part of Chicago, and it still is. If you were to ask people what's the college town for Chicago, it should be Northwestern, because Northwestern is the Big Ten school up here, or Loyola, because Loyola is closer than Northwestern. But most people will tell you that Chicago's college is Illinois. Now, because most of the Big Ten, and I'm going to say legacy Big Ten, was that Chicago is the kind of the geo-center of all the Big Tens. There are plenty of Michigan and Indiana and Minnesota, Iowa fans here. If you would have seen me on the other channel, Windy Wanders, I have a friend who's got a boat over here, and we were out on the boat a little while ago. Hey, MD Media, how you doing? Hopefully you're healing well. If you look out there, right now, this is not something I would really think about doing. That the water in here is so stagnant; it doesn't move that well. I don't like the idea of swimming in here. Now, once you get outside the break wall, the Lake Michigan is a rather clean lake, and something that that we who live here in the upper Midwest, we're surrounded by the greatest volume of fresh water in the world. Now, none of these lakes is the largest. Lake Baikal in Russia, I think, is the largest freshwater lake. But if you take all 5 Great Lakes together, water is traditionally not a problem for us here in Chicago. That we can find water. And I've got I want to keep on talking to get through the copyright of the Petty Bike. You can see a bunch of, I can see a bunch of bugs. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but these are flying dragonflies. I'm guessing that they're about to brood. They're looking for their boys and girlfriends so that they can make little dragonflies. Not sure if you can see them at all, though. A couple of weeks ago, we were in Lakeshore East, and that's, if you go underneath this bridge right here and follow that walkway, you end up in Lakeshore East. And that's a beautiful little neighborhood where all of these high-rises, those surround Lakeshore East, and then there's a little park in the middle. There's only one way to get into Lakeshore East by vehicle, and one way to get out. There are several ways to get in as a pedestrian. So the people that live in that area like it a lot, just because of its seclusion or privacy. Sorry, I'm not walking on water, I'm just walking very close to the edge, seeing if I can get past some of these folks. Now, I've got to go up here. We're about to go over the Chicago River on Lakeshore Drive. If I'd have kept on walking straight, we'd have kind of gotten stuck. That it dead ends down there. Well, it doesn't really dead end. It then takes you on to the Chicago River Path. We have taken the Chicago River Path before on Windy Wanders. If you're interested in seeing that, please check out Windy Wanders. Now here, we've got a helicopter probably heading over to the air show. Now here's one of those places, right, where the bike and the pedestrian are kind of squeezed together. We're supposed to be walking on the outside and the bikes are in the middle. Thank you, Jules. Folks, I appreciate you staying with us here. I might try to, although I'm very fearful of trying to ride a bicycle with the gimbal, because if you hit a bump, it's only on by a magnet, and I don't know if it will jostle it off. But we'll kind of go through the area here, see if we can find any evidence of Scientology, and if not, head back over to the org. As we had mentioned earlier, there's a likelihood that I'm being watched, and if I am being watched, when I left the Printers Row area, they might have put the shades back up again. I do want to go over there and make sure we get those shades back down. So here we're crossing the Chicago River. I will stop for just a minute when we get out there, and I will show you the locks. So the river and the lake are at different heights, and you have to go through the locks in order to to be able to navigate from the river onto the lake. So I'm gonna zoom out there. So you see the little angular building there, or angular raised area there? That is the locks. The locks is the dark space there, and you take the boat in from this side, then they'll fill up the locks to level it off, and then you'll go out the other side. And then these boats are going around to the Ogden Slip, which is North Pier. Back in the day, the big attraction at North Pier was Dick's Last Resort. Seeing some guys on their personal watercraft down here. Ogden Slip is a neat area. It's quiet. It dead ends. It goes through here, and it dead ends in about a block and a half. And there, on the one side is residences, and on the other side is North Pier, which is kind of a mall. It's got a Target, several restaurants. Strangely, it's got 2 different cupcake stores in there. Let's see if I can run through here real quick. Sorry. Just didn't want to get stuck behind, folks. Oh. Seeing, it looks like a seaplane. Oh, it's going to go right through the Ferris wheel for you. It's very interesting. He's very low coming in here making this turn. Is he going to be inside the Ferris wheel? No. Okay, so he's just past the Ferris wheel there. And then he'll head, again, no Scientologists are in that plane. Yesterday from my office, now I will say it made it very hard for me to do any editing, but from my office, I can basically, my window basically faces this direction. And all I could see was the jets, the missing plane formations and so on and so forth. It was very, very cool, but I did not get my work done. So as I mentioned earlier, right, so you've got Ogden Slip here. And then Ogden Slip heads right down this way. I'm going to go over. Yeah, there's every speed in the universe going over these, right? The walking, the biking, the unit tires. Yeah, every once in a while, something really bad will happen at an air show. But, the military wants to be at the air show all the time because it's that thing that makes kids go, ooh, ah, I want to be in the military, right? And then you've got the retired military pilots who are, they're still flying Mustangs and P-52s. And they just love those old planes that they had. Folks, I made my steps goal for the day. something you may, or I'll see if I can glance out there. You can see that white line out in the lake. That is basically the protected zone of the air show. So all of those boats are out there either anchored or floating, but they're outside the zone. This is that same plane we saw earlier.
¿Quiere el número de WhatsApp? El pájaro grande se lo grabé.
Those pilots get such a kick out of flying through the tall buildings. It's just such a rarity for them to be able to fly through skyscrapers, right? So they're playing their own little video game up there. I'm going to take the stairs down here.
Jennifer, what do you do? What do you do?
It'll just be a little bit less crowded. Now we're going to walk into them again. No, they're not taking off here. So some of them will be taking off at O'Hare, but very few. The vast majority of these are at an airport that's called Gary Chicago International, and it's down at the southern tip of the lake. And it tends to be heavily utilized by the military, and all of the military planes are going to be coming in from there. So now we're coming into kind of a densely packed area. I'm scanning the area for any evidence of what's going on here. I'll try to keep you guys focused on the air show. I don't know how far into this I want to get because it does get very, very crowded. Oh, this is definitely the air show. Right. So in the summer, just in front of me is a beach. There's a sandy beach right here. It's the Ohio Street Beach. I'll see if we can get somewhat close to it so you can see that there's sand down there. So right, you've got the beach area down there. And this is like where the triathletes go. This one will sometimes get this crowded, but not very often. If we look here, this is called the concrete beach, and that is concrete from here all the way out to the next peninsula, which is Promontory Point. Not Promontory Point. The North Avenue Beach, sorry. And that almost never has anywhere near that kind of people that are going on there. But again, this is just that target-rich opportunity for people to be handing out propaganda. What were you thinking? So this, I think, is the same plane that we saw earlier. You can see the wall of boats out there, right? Yes, the air show is free. Now, they do have some VIP places. So if we look forward, you can see those white tents that are out there on the North Avenue Beach. Those are very likely going to be VIP tents, and you're going to pay to be in there. And there's probably some form of bar and restaurant going on there. Again, I'm looking around to see if we can find anybody with the Scientology propaganda. There is a park over here. So again, we're at the Ohio Street Beach. right here. There's a park over here. It's called Olive Park, and it is, I think, an old military. It's in memory of a military hero, but it might be closed off. I'm seeing that there's a. So, you know, I've told you before, I'm such a fan of Chicago, and I'm proud of Chicago, and Chicago has some of the coolest things. You know, the lakefront is free, so you cannot prevent people from being on the lakefront. Now, there are a couple of festivals, like the APV will be here, and when the APV is here, I'm sorry, AVP. I don't know what the A is. Is it the American Volleyball Pros? Oh, seeing some military. Oh, you're probably getting a terrible fuzzy element there. Oh, there's something, I hear something coming fast. Oh, tell me I can get that plane. Where's it at? There it is. So this guy, I think those were the Blue Angels. I can hear them coming back on course. Like I don't know if you can hear it as well as I can, but you can hear the Doppler effect of the planes when they come in and go out. Jules, that ranking's off. Now we saw when we first came over here, right, that there was the 4 information flying away from us, and the 2 that the crisscross over the field. Oh. I wish I had my my R5 with me right now. Nicole, you're right there. To me, that's very cool to watch them kind of vanish behind the buildings. See if we can walk through these trees real quick. Oh, I hear something coming in fast right now. We won't be able to see it because of the trees here, but yeah, it looks like they've closed off Olive Park for the afternoon. I can hear them, folks, but I'm not giving you a good view of it. Sorry. So I just kind of want to walk over here and show you. We've got the Medal of Honor recipient, posthumously Milton L. Olive III. And we'll walk back towards the water line. Ooh, something's coming through here screaming fast. Can you pick that up on the microphone? I can still see them, so they turned off the smoke. Now there's 2 more coming in right now. It's flying upside down right now. And then his partner coming back. Oh my, this is a tight ass turn. So I do think that, yeah, I do think that was the Blue Angels we saw just there, Jen. Usually this show opens up with Black Knights. Being the air boss here just has to be stressful as heck, because think about how fast this plane is going, and then we have, you know, prop engines that'll be out there as well. One of the things that I think is really cool, I've got a photo from a couple of years ago where I was down by the yacht club, which was, you know, a mile south of here, and I caught a fighter who was doing showing his wings sideways right through the Ferris wheel. To me, it's the coolest photo I ever took of a non-animal. I love taking photos of birds and such. All right. Are we ready to head back to the org now? Let's go see if we can. Let's go see if we can disrupt Scientology again. I'm very worried about, okay, I want to take the bike because the bike will get me back there faster. What do we want to do? If I walk, it'll take us 30 minutes. If I take the bike, I can probably get the bike down there in 10 minutes, but I think I want to turn you guys off. Are you guys okay if I'm going to go ahead and turn this stream off? I will head over to the org and I will get everything back up. While I'm on the way, I'm going to try to recharge the batteries. All right, folks. My pleasure, Queen Suki. Ooh, I hear it again. If you're not subscribed, please do. Boy, the sound of that is such a cool sound. And for all of you guys that are listening on headphones, sorry. All right, folks. See you in about 10 minutes.